Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to reconcile with my bio sister after she falsely accused me of violating her? Original post. This story takes place 7 years ago. At this time, I was 18 male and my biological sister was 15, had always gotten into arguments. They would be small petty things, but then blew up because we just didn't get along. My father at the time was in his third marriage, and his new wife brought in 3 daughters. So I had 4 younger sisters, 1 biological sister, and 3 stepsisters. My father was military, and we got sent to a military station in Japan. One day during a summer before school, our parents told us 3 teenagers, my bio sister, stepsister, and I, that one of us would be sent back to our families in the United States due to the constant fighting. It was ultimately decided that my bio sister would be sent back to live with our bio mother, while the rest of us stayed. Start of the school year, I was starting 12th grade, my stepsister 10th grade, and my bio sister would be starting her freshman year of high school. A few months into the school year, I got brought into my parents' room saying we need to talk. To my shock, it was that my bio sister had accused me of violating her and said it was done when we were kids. My parents asked me about what she could be talking about, and the only incident was when I was 11. I said something inappropriate in front of her that I learned on the internet. I got apprehended for it and was taught my lesson. My parents and my 3 younger stepsisters learned that my bio sister is a pathological liar and was caught multiple times in said lies. My parents said that due to this, I was no longer allowed to babysit my 2 younger siblings, still in elementary school, and that I had to always be with my teenage stepsister or an adult with them. When I called them out on believing a pathological liar, they said, "We don't believe her, but we have to take this seriously." My response to them was, "If you take this seriously, then you are fueling her fire more." This led to me being shunned by most of my family on my mom's side and my dad's side, besides an aunt, uncle, and a few cousins. Fast forward 2 years later, I'm about to be shipped out into the military with my aunt and uncle who didn't believe my bio sister, and I got a call from my bio mother saying that my bio sister was in a hospital for attempting to end herself. I asked how this pertains to me, since she also knew how I felt about my bio sister, and she said that with her recovering from the incident, the truth came out that she fabricated the whole thing. Immediately, my mother apologized to me and said that my bio sister's reasoning was that he seemed so happy over there. I thought nothing of it and accepted my mother's apology. Fast forward to today where I am now 25, have moved on with my life but still not forgiven her nor plan to. I've served almost 6 years in the military, and most of my family has tried to or did apologize for everything that happened with my sister and didn't believe her for a second. But that same family keeps on asking if I would ever sit down with her to talk it out. And I always refuse, saying I love her as a sister but will never like her as a person. She has told family that she's willing to patch things up to me if I apologized to her about the situation. And I outright laughed and said, hell no. My family keeps on hounding me that she's my only real sibling. But I have 3 younger sisters, my stepsisters, who still view me as their older brother with no issues, and I am now uncle to my sister's new son. I don't want nor feel that I have any obligations to sit down with her to fix things because of the seriousness of her actions. But my family is saying that I should mend things since that is my blood, and blood is family. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to reconcile with my bio sister after she falsely accused me? Now for the top comments before reading the update. She's willing to patch things up to me if I apologized to her about the situation. What are you supposed to say? I'm sorry you lied about me, causing the whole family to shut me out and basically disown me. I'm so sorry. This must have been so difficult for you. You're a champ. We can get through this together. I'm here for you, sis. Huh? Your family are all a-holes, especially your parents. Glad you have your aunt, uncle, and some of your cousins. Not the a-hole. Yeah, she destroys his life, but he needs to apologize. She accused him of a horrible crime. That's not a little thing. She needs major therapy. Apologize to her? Is she high? Man, you are wise to stay away from that circus. Damn, not the a-hole. I'm sure her family's pumping her up, making her think that what she did wasn't that bad. They probably forgave her instantly. And now they've been trying to comfort her and whatnot for years as she's been going through her mental problems. She might even feel she's mostly a victim in life, and whatever she did wrong was understandable. And yet, she's still salty about whatever petty stuff she and her brother used to argue about. What a useless piece of garbage anyway. I'm not going to say too bad she didn't succeed. That would be awful. I hope she turns her life around. Too bad she was born with a defective brain though. I'd say you're right. The bCos may have health problems. The parents presumably don't, in which case their demand that he apologize is all the more bizarre. Apologize for what exactly? Not the a-hole. She stopped being your sister the minute she firebombed your life with her lies. This is her consequence. I feel sad, OP even has to say. I love her like a sister but don't like her as a person. No, you do not need to love her as a sister. You don't even need to acknowledge her existence. She completely derailed the trajectory of your life, and your parents went along with it. Blood relations do not give automatic passes for unconditional love. Now for the update. First, I would like to say thank you for everyone's kind words and the messages that I received. It helped me more than I thought it would. So, no one in my family found this post or knows about the original, but there are a few updates. First is that I saw a lot of people asking, what do I have to apologize for? For contexts, I was told to apologize for trying to make the family hate her, and for the comment I made when I was 11 that I had already apologized for when it happened. Second, I was forced in the same house as her for us to reconcile. During the holidays, I went to visit my father and stepmom when they were still together and wasn't told that my bio sister would be there too. To my surprise, there she was, sitting on a couch when I walked in, and I immediately left, angry and yelling at my family. I spent my own money in a hotel nearby and said I would visit when appropriate, but was met with backlash because she was willing to talk, but I had to apologize. I refused and stayed in my hotel, upset that I was tricked. Thirdly, my bio sister is still living with my biological mother and is finally getting kicked out for lying. My mother and father had admitted that. At first they couldn't believe it, but after having her at their houses, it was clear what happened. I went talking to some family that still supported me during the time and found out that she has no more bridges with anyone in the family left because she burned them when they thought they were helping her. I also found that she had made multiple false claims towards other men and other members of our family. To my knowledge, my sister was never touched like that ever, but we both got beatings and got starved a few times. She burned my father's bridge too, and just burned my mother's bridge. And mother is kicking her out of the house now and has had apologized again, and it seemed honest. I made it that I have gone no contact with my sister and few family members, but I have been in therapy for a few years and I'm trying to allow people back in after conversations. Thank you everyone again for your messages, and thank you for believing in my story. I will update you guys if anything else happens. For contexts, I was told to apologize for trying to make the family hate her. Didn't she do this when she finally admitted, with no involvement from you, that she freaking lied? So you need to apologize for her outing herself? Your dad and stepmom need to get a grip. He has to apologize for how her lie made her feel and tore her family apart. Come on, his sister accused him of a horrible crime. Obviously, she is traumatized by how the false memory made her feel, so he should apologize. Okay, what your sister did was wrong. Completely and absolutely. But I'm concerned about your nonchalant reference to the two of you being beaten a few times and starved. That's straight up child abuse, and that can have an impact. What she did and seems to have continued to do is wrong on many levels. But children also react differently to abuse. And using words like beaten and starved without more explanation sounds like child abuse. Sorry about that. When we refused to eat dinner because we didn't like it, our parents would make us go starve or until we ate the food they cooked. As for beatings, it was never ER crazy, but still got hit and smacked around for stuff. I got hit with a baking sheet and my sister with a dog leash. Both unwarranted, but it did happen. I'm sorry you went through all of that. Your father and stepmom sound awful though. Their reaction to kids squabbling made them threaten you all with being shipped back home. Then they did it. Then they went, we believe you, but we have to take this seriously, which means we 100% don't believe you. Then they surprise you with her, who is demanding an apology from you? Honestly, tell the people who didn't have your back to buzz off, unless you are wanting some inheritance, which is fair. Jesus, but I am curious about what you said when you were 11 could even be an issue now. It was this old Pokemon video of them saying curses and being vulgar. I quoted a line one time on the lines of, "Come here, sexy," but I was talking to my friend online and she was playing with us. I can't remember exactly, but it was along those lines. That is literally nothing. I can't believe anyone would remember such a non-accident. I'm sorry all this happened to you. Stay away from your sister and stay strong. Last story. Refused to give newlywed niece the down payment for a house. Am I the a-hole? My male 54 niece Sierra, female 25, is an only child, and she just got married about 3 months ago. My sister, female 58, admitted to me that she and her husband paid over $35,000 for her wedding at a venue on the coast. They had to dip into their home equity for most of that money. My wife, female 53, and I make significantly more than my sister and her husband, but we live well within our means. We do splurge on once-a-year vacations and paid for our kids' educations, but that's it. We even cap how much we're allowed to spend on each other for our birthdays or Christmas, etc. When our children, male 30, male 28, and female 24, got engaged, we offered to either pay for their dream wedding or host their wedding at my parents' lake house and give them the balance for a down payment on their own homes. About the lake house, my parents are deceased. My sister and I own it, renting it out most of the time and splitting the money. It's more than maintenance costs, /taxes, /fees, etc., but not much more. All 3 of our children took us up on the offer, so all 3 are now homeowners. This kind of nuked our accrued savings for a bit, but we've built back up a sizable amount of since then, and we're glad to help our kids get a solid financial base in life. My sister told me she offered the same deal to Sierra, but Sierra wanted her dream wedding. I thought she was crazy, but she's not my daughter, so it's none of my business. Well, it became my business. Apparently, Sierra's been stewing over the last couple of months after my daughter and her husband hosted their first family 4th of July at their new home. It's not new, as it was built 40 years ago, but it's solid, has lots of room, a huge backyard, and my son-in-law has been working overtime with very impressive DIY projects. My sister told me Sierra had asked them for a down payment so they could get a house, but after paying Sierra's college tuition / expenses and her wedding, they're tapped out. I had a feeling Sierra would show up on my doorstep, and that's exactly what she did. Sierra and her husband showed up with a cake. My wife loves cakes. She told us about their honeymoon, how she loves being married, and how much she looks forward to giving us grandnieces and grandnephews. The whole time her husband is looking more and more uncomfortable. As soon as Sierra said, "I just wish we could buy a house like my cousins," I just shook my head and said, "No, Sierra, we're not giving you the down payment." She just froze for a moment, then asked me, why not? We had the money, and we could even make it a loan that they would pay back if we wanted. I told her I don't loan money to family members. If I put money in a family member's hand, it's a gift. Life is just easier that way. I reminded Sierra that my kids have homes, because instead of blowing $35,000 on a dream wedding, they spent far less to get married at their grandparents' lake house. So the money they would have spent went to their down payment. I also reminded her that her mother offered her the same deal, but she refused because she wanted her wedding to be, in her own words, better than theirs. Most importantly, I said that I'm not going to disrespect my own children's wise financial decisions by rewarding her foolish decision. When she asked what was foolish, I said, all you were thinking about was the wedding. My kids were thinking about their marriages. Of course, this upset Sierra and she left in tears. Her husband apologized, but I'm not sure if it was because she was crying they were leaving in such an awkward way or if he thought Sierra was wrong. Anyway, my sister said that she agrees with me, but said I'm an a-hole because I was so blunt about it. I'll admit that I am blunt, while my sister sugarcoats everything. For what it's worth, my wife, kids, and brother-in-law, Sierra's father, are in complete agreement. But a consensus does seem to be that it's not what I said, but how I said it. I guess that's why I'm here. Was being as blunt as I was make me an a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. You gave her a much-needed lesson in the consequences of choices. If you want to talk about a-hole behavior, Sierra wanting to one-up your children on the wedding and then use your money to pay for her petty move is the height of a-hole behavior. She deserved every word you said, and then some. And those words weren't rude. Blunt isn't necessarily rude. Opie probably saved himself a lot of unnecessary begging by making his answer clear. With people like his niece, if you sugarcoat it, they take it as a sign that there's space for negotiation, and then you're in for a world of awkwardness. She sounds amazingly entitled. I could never imagine going to a relative's house and asking for $35,000. Unthinkable, especially after blowing that much on a wedding. No kidding. I once borrowed $5,000 off my mom in an emergency, and I felt so horrible. I can't imagine asking for a down payment on a house after letting my parents spend $35,000 on a wedding. Not the a-hole. Like you said, she had a choice between a wedding and a house. She chose the wedding. A lot of people don't like it when you tell them the truth. In this case, she needs to be told the truth. You don't want her to think that she has any hope in the future to get money from you. To put it even more bluntly, no chance in hell. You would think after 3 fantastic examples of good financial decisions, where 3 of your own cousins sacrificed their wedding destinations for a house, you would do the same. But nope. Well, you see, she thought it was a bluff. She thought if she was the first one to take the wedding, she'd still get the house money, and then it would prove the other 3 were suckers. Not the a-hole. Why are you here? No one thinks you're one, do you? Sierra does. Pretty sure her husband does too. And while others agree with me, they think I was a bit too blunt about it. My kids joke that I'm about as subtle as a sledgehammer. Fair. I still think not the a-hole. I don't see much wrong with what you said either, especially since she asked you why. She was there for money. She wasn't there to bring your wife a cake, share how her honeymoon went, or how excited she is to have you there when she has her own kids. You saved everyone some time. She sucks. I hate false niceties to butter up the real reason someone is there.